Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Little Nightmares 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the teacher and going in more depth about her and where she's connected in the Little Nightmares universe. And of course, we're going to be doing a little bit of theorizing too. And of course, there are going to be spoilers from Very Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares. Anyway, with that being said, make sure you hit subscribe and let's get into this video. So, who is the teacher? Well, the teacher, or the full name, the sadistic teacher, is a new enemy that we will be facing in the next installment of Little Nightmares. I find it interesting how they highlight the use of the word sadistic. It already gives us a small indication of what horror that we'll face when dealing with the teacher. As many of you may or may not know, sadistic means to derive pleasure from inflicting pain, suffering, or humiliation of others. So we already know this is going to be fun? Question mark? Anyway, aside from her name, we can talk about how she looks in dresses. So the teacher dresses in a whitish dirty blouse for her upper body and a long dark stone grey skirt with a black belt. Following this, she seems to have some dull tights and some black shoes. She seems to carry a ruler of some type, and on the end of that ruler, she has some sort of wristband attached. We could assume that this indicates to us that she will have that ruler on her most of the time. Okay, so now we know who the teacher is and what she looks like. What do we know about her specifically though? Well, of course, without the game being released, we can only speculate on what we possibly know. But when has that ever stopped us? Well, we know for a fact that she is placed in the Pale City in the school level. Where this level is in game though, we don't fully know as of yet. We know she seems to command the school children, the bullies. As we can see from a gift that was shared from the Little Nightmares Twitter page, the bullies were chasing Mono out of a classroom while she stood and watched. We know for sure that the influence of Japanese culture remains in Little Nightmares 2, as the teacher has the ability to extend her neck, just like, now forgive me how I pronounce this, I'm not fluent in Japanese, I'm barely fluent in my actual language, which is English, so forgive me any Japanese people out there how I pronounce this, but let's get into it. Just like a Rokurokubi. A Rokurokubi is a yonkai, specifically an apparition. In short, a yonkai is a class of supernatural monsters and spirits in Japanese folklore. Interestingly enough, it's thought that in the Edo period, which is from 1603 to 1868, tales and stories were written about people's necks and how they would extend during their sleep. An interesting fact that pairs well with the title, Little Nightmares. Could this be an indication of something more? Perhaps this is a video topic in itself in the future. Anyway, off topic. Let's get back onto the teacher and how the website and Twitter page describes her. The website says, misbehavior will not be tolerated in the teacher's classroom, and nothing escapes her cold, twisted gaze in her domain. Children should be seen and not heard, and if one should be heard, they will never be seen again. While it's not much of a description, more of a warning, with that in mind, this is the description from the Twitter page. An educator with an unusual ability to detect troublemakers. Her class is full of well-behaved children. Very interesting, they don't really give information. If anything, they give more warnings rather, and they really want you to know that she isn't a character to be messed with. Now with all the small things out the way, let's talk about her links to the mall. So we do get a very strong link to the mall, which indicates to me that she has more of an impact than we think. Not to mention that the clue has been there for a while. I am of course referring to her painting, the one that can be found in the Residence DLC. Something interesting about the painting itself is her expression. It seems as if this painting, she's smiling, showing the sadistic side of her, and the only other time that I can find that face again is when she's extending her neck. So, aside from her painting being on the moor, we often miss the fact of one big thing. Her painting is also used as a puzzle. Now, to refresh your memory, The room that you need is the one with a certain puzzle piece. You have to correctly select the right paintings to light up to obtain access to this room. Now, interestingly, the teacher doesn't light up in this puzzle. Why does this interest me? Well, for me, the first thing I would theorise about are the people whose paintings are lit. Are they alive? And do they have an active connection to the moor and the people on it? Funnily enough, we've already been introduced to one of these lit up paintings before in the Little Nightmares 2 Hunter's House. Just before Mono finds 6, we can see on the wall on the left there is a painting of the small sort of child with the slanted face. So why wouldn't the teacher's painting be lit up? Well, I theorise two things here. Number one is that she has lost her connection to the moor, and what I mean by this is maybe she isn't aware anymore. Maybe she's under the control of someone else. That someone else being the broadcaster. The second one would be perhaps she is dead. Now I say this because it would work well with the theory that Little Nightmares 2 is in fact a prequel of the story of Little Nightmares 1. And thus, this would mean that everyone else that isn't lit up on those paintings isn't alive also. Or were they ever? So, with that being said, let's continue to another topic about the teacher. Still talking on the line of connections, I want to talk about her connection to Very Little Nightmares. Now for me, I theorise that there could be two solid connections. Number one being her having an influence on the nursery room in the nest. We can see that there's a type of school-like environment in there, a little more cluttered than the Pale City School, but a place of education still, but without the teacher. I would like to draw your attention to the wall painting from the gnomes after we leave the area. There seems to be 7 children in the drawing and 1 authority figure, which we can assume is the teacher. Why do I say this? Well, we know in this particular teacher, they're wearing a skirt, and the only one we know wearing the skirt in Little Nightmares at the moment is the girl bullies and the teacher. The second evidence I believe we have of the teacher's connection to Very Little Nightmares is another painting. I've mentioned it before in a previous video about the painting where we see the pretender tell off the blue-headed puppet. At this point in the game, we walk past a painting that has the pretender standing with what can be assumed is her family or her guardians. Interestingly, as we get more information about the teacher, it's becoming quite clear that the lady in the painting has the same outfit as the teacher. They share the same shoes, tights and skirt. I theorise that perhaps these are the same after all. While I'm not sold on the idea of the teacher being a parent, what if she was in fact the governess to the pretender at one point? It could explain why there's a quarters right next to the nursery and 2 separate bathrooms. But at this point I'm starting to think everything is coming together and thus everything is going to be connected. Or it could be easier said that where there's a piano, there's the teacher. But I think as we all approach Little Nightmares 2, we really have to keep an eye on the teacher. I think her personality and her character is going to lead into a lot of theories and a lot of explanations in the world of Little Nightmares, but we will have to find out when the game comes out. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think of this video in the comments below. Share your theories and ideas of the teacher in the comments below. I'd love to see what everyone thinks about the teacher. I think she's a very interesting character, very specific and very driven. And I do think that the teacher is going to be an answer to a lot of our questions. But then again, there might still be monsters we don't know about just yet. But with that being said, I want to take a quick second to thank the members of the channel, and they are the following: Andrew Goodguy, Elegant Desire XO, Strange Creatures, Eudamus, Nivone, Jessica DeHaro, That Girl with the Afro, Mr. Dragon, Greenapple Gaming, Newly New, Alina, and DF. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the extra support. It really goes a long way. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this video and supporting me. I hope you're having a lovely day. I wish you the best morning, day, or night, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next theory video. Bye!